going on there, guys? We back with another one, and today we got to talk about what Austin Rivers said about Bronny James. Now, he spoke about Bronny and his NIL, and let me preface what I'm about to say with Austin Rivers. You know, he gave Bronny props for playing good in the McDonald's game and showing, you know, that he belonged. So he wasn't totally going in on him, but he also made it a point to say that Bronny only has these things because LeBron is his father. And I can admit, when I saw Bronny ranked number 9 in the nation, I was like, you know, that's definitely the LeBron factor, because they wanted to change the ranking to make it more acceptable for him to be in the McDonald's All-American game because some of the backlash they were receiving. But, you know, having LeBron courtside, those optics and everything was good for the McDonald's All-American game. At the same time, you know, Bronny is a good enough player. Like, put it like this, there's been players lesser than Bronny in the McDonald's game, you know, so that's why Bronny belonged. When they rank these players top 1 to, like, I believe Keegan Murray was like 300 and something, you know, or 400 and something when he came out of high school, and he was a 2 and done in college. So I say that to say a lot of these players are closer than you think. Number 1 isn't that far from 100, you know what I'm saying? That's why Norman Powell in the same class as Austin Rivers is playing a lot better at this stage in their career, because for one, anybody that hoops knows what can change from ages 17 to early 20s. You know, you could get a lot better, or some people can stay stagnated. Well, this is what Austin Rivers had to say, and I'll be back with my commentary.
Speaking of kids of NBA players, did you see that Bronny's NIL was $7 million?
Yeah, that's just
high school.
Insane. I mean, we know why he got that. He got that because he's the son of LeBron James.
But that doesn't change the fact that he's getting it, though. I think it's crazy. $7 million. Does that make you mad? You were a top. Imagine if this was going on when you were the number one player in high school.
Yeah, if this was going on while I was in high school, I probably would have signed a $50-60 million deal with Under Armour. I'm not even kidding.
You were that tight with Under Armour?
Yeah.
So what made you sign with Adidas when you got to the NBA?
Well, I ended up going to Duke, which kind of burnt the bridge of the Under Armour because that's such a big Nike school. So at that point, you just become like a free slate. And then Adidas just ended up coming with the best deal for me. And obviously 11 years later, I'm still with Adidas. But if they had these type of deals in high school, when I was playing with my, you know, I was the number 1 player in the country at the time. You know, Bronny's not even, I don't even, what is Bronny ranked?
I don't know. I think it fluctuates. Let's say he's top 30.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. There was no fluctuation with me. I was 1. You know what I mean? It's a very easy number to remember. I was number 1 in the country. And with the mixtape era that was out then, if they had deals then in high school, I would have probably added an extra $20 to $30 million on my net worth. I mean, that's just the fact. But you know what, though? Like, we had to walk so they could run, man.
I mean, yesterday I got an opportunity to watch my son play the game that he loves to play and do it at a high level. Playing for Team USA is always it's an honor, and you know, my son was very excited about that opportunity to play up in Portland last night at the Nike Hoop Summer. So that was great that the family could go up there and support him, and then you know, for me to be able to play today and play for my guys, and it's a pretty good weekend for our household.
Okay, so Austin Rivers, you know, everybody knows he was a very good high school player. When I saw him and Bradley Beal play in high school, like when I saw both players, not against each other necessarily, but when I seen them both play, I always thought Bradley Beal was the better player. I mean, I guess some people could have looked at Austin Rivers and thought he was better, but when I seen Bradley Beal, I thought he was better. But it's a few things to remember, Mr. Rivers. By the time y'all were seniors, you know, Anthony Davis was in your class. So we know who the best player in that class was, and that's still probably holding true to this day. I think Norman Powell was way down somewhere, but also ranked over you was Andre Drummond. So at the end, and I think Andre Drummond actually moved up a year or something to go on to UConn quicker. So he wasn't always in that class, I believe. If memory serves me correct, he reclassed and then actually went as a walk-on in August. Like, he went to the school. So AD was definitely number 1 by y'all senior year, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Austin spent a good deal of time at number 1, but AD, after he hit that growth spurt, and then his stock kept going up, I'm pretty sure he was number 1 in the nation. Austin Rivers, not to take nothing away from his mixtape era, his scoring prowess and everything in high school, but I just want to remind him that he too benefited off of a father in the NBA. Doc Rivers' name isn't as hot today. He's known for blowing 3-1 playoff leads or whatever it is, you know, with the Clippers and other organizations, right? Philly. But back then, remember, he won with the Celtics in 2008. So he didn't have all these shortcomings in the playoffs that he has now. Doc Rivers was one of the hottest names, and I think Austin Rivers came out in 2011. So Austin Rivers, we were looking at Austin because he was the son of Doc Rivers back then. I mean, granted, Austin Rivers went out and he became a good player. They're not just highlighting any old player, you know, but what I'm saying is part of his allure came from being Doc Rivers' son. You know, we even knew who his sister was. Like, we knew a lot about the family. Then he went to Duke and everything, and he earned that scholarship. You know, again, not to take nothing away from him. I just want to remind him that he also benefited off of an NBA father. Now, obviously, Doc Rivers isn't viewed as a LeBron James, but around that time, he was viewed as like one of the top coaches in the, you know, in the NBA, fresh off that title. And then they had another finals appearance where Kobe and them beat them in the finals, and I think, was that 2010? Yeah, I believe that was 2010. So the year that Austin was coming out, they took the Lakers 7 games. You know what I'm saying? They took them 7 games. So your name was still hot based off of that, and your play was good. But we know Bronny benefited off of LeBron. And I'm one that don't feel like there's anything wrong with nepotism, especially, you know, Doc made Austin work for what he got. LeBron is making Bronny work for what he has. You know, sometimes, you know, people say LeBron is on the court too much and not letting Bronny have his moment, getting in his layup lines and stuff. But as far as putting in the work to get what you can out of the game, we've seen Bronny's game take strides. It's not like he isn't a high major player. Bronny going to Ohio State or wherever he ends up going, you know, it wouldn't be like he wasn't a player of that caliber and he's just thrown in. Like, I think Lil Romeo benefited from that when he went to USC because DeMar DeRozan was his boy. I feel like, you know, yeah, he went a little too high. But that was a DeMar DeRozan package. I feel like Bronny is just good enough to go to Ohio State. If you take LeBron away from being his father or whatever, he would be getting some high major looks. You know, Big Ten looks. He looks like a Big Ten point guard. Now, this thing where they talking about one and done or getting to play with LeBron, who knows how long that's going to take. Again, that goes back to my earlier point about players blossoming. We don't know when that light bulb's going to turn on for certain players and they hit that next gear, you know, take that next level. It happened for Ja Morant. It happened for, like I said, Keegan Murray. Was my man that just left Central Florida this year. He was a one and done at Central Florida, and he was ranked top 50. So sometimes it's just based on the fit, the coach letting you play your game and you thriving in their system. It's not that, like, some of these guys you see in the transfer portal, they not bad players. They just didn't get opportunity. So if they go somewhere where they get an opportunity, you know, they can then become a pro prospect, you know, or even go overseas, play in one of the top Spanish leagues, Italian leagues, whatever. But yeah, man, Bronny, it's nothing wrong with, like, we know he's LeBron's son, and we know that's why he got what he got, to some degree. But it's nothing wrong with nepotism, man. It's nothing wrong with a father using his celebrity to help his son continue generational wealth. This is still going to go to LeBron's grandkids and his grandkids, you know, and Bronny can keep that going, you know. And I mean, obviously LeBron he has enough for generations now, but why not get Bronny started? You know, maybe Bronny doesn't go have this great NBA career, but even if LeBron can use his influence to get his son in, I mean, we've seen this type of stuff with lesser players. Like, didn't John Stockton's son play a little bit with the Utah Jazz, and he didn't belong at that level in the NBA, like even getting a look. So we've seen these type of things with other players. I mean, I know firsthand some people that beat out better players for NBA jobs, and it was just nothing other than race while it was even a competition, or who you know and what you know and all that stuff. So yeah, man, I said a lot right there, but my main point is I want Austin Rivers to remember he benefited off of being Doc Rivers' son at that time too. Bronny is definitely benefiting off being LeBron's son, but Bronny got out there and looked like he belonged. You know, even at the Nike Hoop Summit, McDonald's All-American game, if it's close, then LeBron's son's gonna win out. They gotta sell tickets. It's a television production. So the players that didn't even get the invite, that probably were a little better than Bronny or felt like they was right there on that level, they're learning something very, very important, which I think is it could enhance your work ethic. You could be just as good as somebody or even a little better, but it ain't about what you're able to do or what you know. It's who you know. And so they know they can't just be on Bronny's level if they want to get to that level after college. They got to be much better than him. If you're in a room with Bronny and that other player, you better have separated yourself. You better look like Scoot Henderson out there on the court, you know, where they still have to take you for their franchise, but you can't be a player on, you know, right there with Bronny, or they ain't going, you know, they going to take Bronny. And so they basically, what I'm saying is they're learning that it's a business too early on. So I think that's a great lesson. And yeah, man, more power to LeBron and Bronny. Austin Rivers, you know, he feels like he would have made a lot more money if this was around during his mixtape era, and the mixtape era was hot back then. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about all this, though, man. I could ramble on this topic and things right off of this topic all day long, but let me stop right now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace.